Whereas the Aljamain Sterling versus the Petr Yan fight, man, it was a crazy finish in terms of an illegal knee. And for the first time in UFC history, we saw a champion lose his belt because of a DQ. And we saw a person win the belt because of a DQ. Just what were your thoughts on that, man, in terms of seeing a champion lose his belt that way, but then also seeing somebody win the belt in that same manner?
Well, I kind of almost want to flip this back to you because I see the knee to the head. I'm like, okay, this is a
super illegal, right?
This is a very violent sport. I wouldn't have expected that. If you just would have showed me the highlight, I wouldn't have thought that's illegal at all. But I guess it's in the rule book.
Yes, indeed.
So if that's the case, then what can you do about it? Where does the controversy lie? Is it because of the belt? Is that the thing?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the big thing, because obviously when it comes to just sports in general, right, you always feel like you have to earn the belt. You have to get the belt by beating the champion. But because of this scenario where it was a DQ, it kind of altered that. But the reason for me, I look at it differently, is because the knee was so blatant. Like anybody that follows combat sports, if a person is ruled down like that, right, both knees on the ground, both hands were down, or at the time he was still trying to, gather himself, but the referee had said, hey, he's down, he's down, he's down. You can't blatantly knee a guy. You saw how violent he was. I mean, it knocked the dude out. He was awake, but he was not awake. You know what I mean? So when I saw that, that was the part that made it so just different, because of how blatant and how egregious it was. But when you're throwing the belt in there, that's the part that makes it different. Like, part of me loves the fact that Petr Yan lost the belt because of that, right? Because, hey, if you're the champion, it's on you. You're the person that's in control of your body. You know the rules, what you can and can't do. So I didn't have an issue with him losing it. But Aljamain, in terms of him becoming champ off of it, that's where it gets a little dicey, because technically he did win because it was a DQ. But at the time of the fight, I mean, two cards had the champion up 2-1, and then the other guy had Aljamain up 2-1. So you could see it was a close fight, but anybody watching it could see that the tide was turning. Petr was definitely starting to take over the fight. So to see it kind of play out like that is just, I'm kind of torn. You know what I mean?
It's the belt then. Why not just
it's
have
definitely
it?
The belt, right?
Why not just have it neutral? Well, because everyone's saying they're going to do a rematch soon, right?
They got to do a rematch. The biggest thing is once Aljamain gets clear, because he definitely was concussed. You saw his eye start to swell up after he had got the knee and stuff like that. So once he gets cleared, then obviously they'll go through their full just post-fight recovery phase. And then hopefully we can get this sooner than later, because it was a good fight. And it was interesting to see how, one guy trying to keep this fast tempo, the other guy has the knockout power. And you're just seeing both of those dynamics start to play out. So right when it was really getting really, really good, it's like, dang, now we get this nonsense, this knee. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Be honest with you, though, whenever this fight happens again, you're going to be loving it a little bit more, because if this was a normal way how it ended, maybe they wouldn't be doing this rematch. But now there's going to be so much more build up. I'll probably be tuning in. I'm actually surprised with you saying how big of a fight card this was that I didn't tune in. I'm not the biggest fight fan, but normally I tune into some of these big fights. Now with this one, with the storyline, I'll probably be checking this one out. Not going to lie.
Listen, the reason why this next one is going to be so much bigger, obviously we have the controversy in terms of how the fight ended. Obviously we have the changing of the guard from a belt standpoint. These dudes were already going at it before the fight. Now, if you follow them on social media, they've been bickering because you get the apology from Petr, but then a picture surfaces of Aljamain with the belt, with his family and friends. Now, he doesn't post a picture. One of his friends did. So Petr goes up there and he's like, oh, I thought that, you weren't going to accept the belt this way. Here it is 5 minutes later, you posting pictures. So then from there, Aljamain is like, oh, I thought it was an accidental knee, but did the SpongeBob meme with the crazy writing and stuff. So it was funny. But you could just see back and forth. They're going at it. And, I think the longer this thing continues on, the more heat is going to get. And you're going to get an even better lead up to the fight next time. Because sometimes the lead up is what makes it that much bigger. When you get these pre-fight interviews, that's what made Conor McGregor so just, polarizing was what he could do to sell that fight ahead of time. When you get that storyline, when you feel like the guys genuinely don't like each other, you're like, dude, I got to see this now. So without a doubt, man, I'm definitely going to be excited when they run it back, man.
No, 100%. And you're right with McGregor. I've probably watched most of his fights as of late, probably his last like 4 or 5, just because he's Conor McGregor. Yeah. I was looking up his ranking in his weight class. He's like 6th right now. I don't care. I would watch him over any of those other dudes in his weight class right now. It is what it is.
Absolutely. He knows how to sell a fight, man.
What would you do with the belt?
If I'm Aljamain, put it like this, and I had tweeted this out right when it happened. I said, because you were in there competing, because it was still a close fight, 2 judges had you down 1 round, the other judge had you up 1 round. So you can see how tight it was and how highly contested it was. You didn't do anything wrong. So if I'm Aljamain, even though I don't feel 100% validated, I still am going to wear that belt because I did earn it. I went in there and competed. I was winning on at least 1 card and was in contention to win on the other cards until you did something blatantly illegal, blatantly dirty. So I'm taking my belt, but I definitely think that, you know, I wouldn't feel 100% good about it until I defended it. Now, it doesn't matter if it was versus Petr or any other bantamweight. I'm not going to feel comfortable until I get a chance to defend it because that's not the way you want to win a title. It's no different if you won a game on a crazy penalty at the end of it. It's just like, I mean, did we win? Yes, but it doesn't feel as good as it should feel. But it will once he gets a chance to defend it.
Do you think they'll immediately do the rematch, or do you think they'll give him a chance to face someone else?
I think it depends on how these next, week or 2 of conversations go, because initially once the fight ended, hearing how Petr sounded sincere and then hearing Aljamain and the emotions he was dealing with, I thought it was going to be guaranteed that the rematch would get done. And Dana White, the UFC president, said similar things. But now that the social media beef has started, it kind of makes me feel like I could definitely see Aljamain, because of how blatant the knee was, and now seeing what Petr is tweeting after the fact, it kind of would make me, if I'm him, I would be over here like, well, you don't seem too remorseful. So you know what? Maybe that apology was full of crap. So why should I give you the chance to get this belt back? No, I'm going to go fight someone else. You go earn your way to come up here and meet me again. I could definitely see that being the case if he continues on this path. Because if you hit me with something illegal, you give me this apology, but then 5 minutes later, you up here talking smack about me. Nah, that ain't gonna fly, baby. That's not gonna fly.
You could see it going both ways from a business standpoint. The longer you hold it off, as long as the dude that holds the belt keeps winning, then the build-up increases a little bit. But if he loses, then it's like, oh, man, you missed your chance for that hype period.
But the thing is, both of these guys were coming in on a 4 and a 5 fight win streak. So you could see that this was the marquee matchup. This was the matchup that we were all looking for. And it was living up to it up until the knee. You get the knee, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing, man? It was just about to get interesting. We were going to see who was going to break first here. But that's the beauty of sports, right? You have to follow rules. It's that simple, man. And if you don't, these are the consequences to that, man.
You correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I either heard or read that people in Jan's corner were telling him to knee Sterling.
Yes, man. So, obviously, Petr is Russian. So the conversation and the communication was all in Russian. But at the time, you remember the current chap / if he's retired, not Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? So he was actually near the corner because he was actually a cornerman for one of the fights that was before that one.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he has a young stud, Islam Makhachev. Dude is a beast. He looks just like Khabib, just younger. Fights just like him, mauls guys. Like, he's going to be the next champ coming up. And I honestly think he'll be the champ by the end of the year. You know, like he's on that type of trajectory right now, man. He dominated Drew Dober, and Dober's a really good fighter. Yeah, it wasn't close, though. So you could just see, but because Khabib was still in that area, he could hear them speaking in Russian because obviously he speaks Russian. He's from there. And as the fight is going on and they're showing the replay, you hear the one cornerman, he's like, he's saying something, and he's the guy's, and obviously they translated, it was like he's telling him punch only. But then another person in the corner is like, throw the knee, yes. And they're like, oh, and boom, you see him throw it. And from there, the one guy knows as soon as it happens, he's like, dang, going, like, throws his arms up, like, what did you do? The other guy, you could tell he doesn't know the rules. He gets excited. He's thinking he just won the fight. He's like, yeah, good job. Heck yeah. And we're like, no, dude, you cannot do that at all. So granted, because they had masks on, we can't pinpoint who exactly said to throw it or not. But you can definitely see the reaction from the veteran cornerman throwing his arms up like, yo, we just blew it. It's over. And then you see the younger guy extremely ecstatic, like, yes, you did it. You knocked him out. Heck of a job. So take that for how you want to take it. But either way, it was confirmed that, yes, the guy definitely told him to throw the knee. So bad judgment, from the cornerman. But at the end of the day, when you're the person in the ring, you know the rules. And you're in control of your body.
You should at least.
You should, right? Especially if you're fighting the championship fight. And this was his first title defense. So it's not like he was new to this thing. So with that being said, man, like I said, I think that's more so on him, man. So hopefully he learns from this unfortunate circumstance.
For sure.